Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 1 from AfterShock. So the best way to describe this is a heist story with kaijus. And no, it's not the kaijus that are heisting, though that would be really awesome. Can you imagine a story, a series, where the main characters are kaijus and they're pulling off bank heists and things like that? That would be awesome. I don't know how the hell they would pull that one off, but yeah, that would be cool. But no, this is basically, in this world, there are kaijus, and people have just learned to deal with it. And so our main characters are going to pull off a heist while kaijus are terrorizing the city. I'm like, all right, that sounds pretty sweet. So this is actually volume 2. Volume 1 came out, I want to say last year maybe. I did not read volume 1. This issue is very welcoming to newbies. You can jump right in without having read the first volume, and you can already pretty much understand what's going on. So we start off with Michelle, and we have a quick little flashback where we see her as an 8-year-old given a promise book. And in it, she writes a bunch of promises and stuff, and she's kept it throughout her entire life. And during the crazy Florida job, which I'm assuming is volume 1, she writes down that a promise that if she made it out alive, if she was able to get out of this score gone crazy alive, she promises to get out of this life for good, to get out of the whole heisting stuff. Well, promise broken. So we see her with her crew, and she kind of passes by all the passengers. She's not interested in robbing any of them. Instead, she knows that there's going to be a swap going down, and she wants to rob that. So her and her people do, and they get out safe and sound. And she's back with her old crew. And throughout this, she's talking about how she's learned a lot of lessons from the crazy Florida job. She's learned her lessons, and she's trying to be smarter about how she does her score. So she makes a change of plans. Like, they were supposed to meet up at the loft, but instead they're going to be meeting up at the warehouse. And the reason for that is because one of her men, who was brought in, he's new. Turns out that he is working for someone else, and he was going to double cross her and her people. And she found out about it, and so she shoots him dead. And then we see her basically going back to her home, which is a pretty nice looking mansion. There's 4 people, and his name is the leader is this old man named Xavier, and he basically kind of taunts her in a sense. Like he says he's a man with my hand is in many pots, and one of those endeavors have brought me to you. She's like, I know who you are. You're the weird guy who contacts established crew in the circuit to steal rare antiquities. And he's like, yep, and I want you to work for me. Thankfully, Michelle isn't stupid. She actually has one of her men outside on the roof with a sniper trained on this old guy. So she allows him to basically give him his spiel. And his spiel is that there's this legendary kaiju that everyone thought was dead, but it's actually not. It's just frozen somewhere in Russia. And before it was frozen, it ate a bunch of Aztec treasure. So there's a bunch of like Aztec gold inside its body. And Aztec gold is very, very rare because the conquistadors, when they invaded, the Aztec people, they basically melted down all the gold into gold bars. So there's no more like Aztec gold coins or Aztec gold whatever. But there's a bunch of them inside this kaiju that's frozen in Russia that the Russians have found. And they built an installation around it. And they're keeping measures to make sure it stays asleep. But this old man, he wants his hands on this Aztec gold. So he wants to hire Michelle and her group because he knows about the Florida job. He knows how resourceful her and her crew were to get out of there, because I guess things went pear-shaped. And the fact that they were able to make it out says a lot about Michelle and her crew. So he wants her to basically infiltrate the Russian base and steal the Aztec gold that the Russians got out of this kaiju. And she turns him down. She's like, no, like, what the Florida thing reminded me of was to never get in over my head. Like, my crew now, we only take safe jobs that we can easily pull off. I'm never going to put my crew into that kind of danger again. Which here's the good thing about the writing here is that it makes me want to read the first volume. Not because I need to read it so I'm not lost, but just because it sounds really interesting. Like it sounds like the job was so freaking crazy and brutal and just insane that I'm kind of intrigued on what exactly happened, how they were able to get out. But at the same time, it's like I don't need to read it because this issue does a really good job of just painting the fact that her and her crew were in this very crazy job. Things went pear-shaped. She was lucky to get her and her crew out alive, and now they're kind of like legends within their group, but it made a huge impact on her that she doesn't want to do any more crazy heists. She wants to kind of keep things a little bit more friendly and easier. So yeah, she turns the guy down and she goes about her life, and she continues robbing places like banks and stuff like that. And then eventually, while she's driving on the road, she sees a van with masked men pull up. They try to shoot her. They chase her down a bunch of street corners and stuff like that. And it turns out that the person who is trying to kill her is this guy named Carlito, who he was the guy that was working for the mole in their group. So basically, like I mentioned earlier, there was a mole in their group. Their original plan was to meet at the loft, and then Carlito would end up killing all of them, and then taking all of their gold or their money and stuff, their treasure basically. Basically, Carlito's thing is that he doesn't actually go on the heist himself. He puts moles into groups, allows them to steal whatever it is they steal, money, treasures, jewelry, whatever. And then, the mole will set up, will tell them where the rendezvous point is, and then Carlito and his men will show up and kill everybody and take the treasure. But because Michelle was able to figure this out, she was able to prevent that from happening, and word got out, and now Carlito's reputation is ruined. So now he wants her and her crew dead, and this decision somehow convinces Michelle to decide to work with the old man. I don't know why. Maybe she's hoping, like, well, if this old man has a lot of hands in the pot, maybe he can do something about Carlito. Maybe the money that he's willing to give her will be enough for her to maybe buy out Carlito, maybe pay for security. I don't know. But basically, somehow Carlito wanting to kill her has convinced her to accept the man's offer. So now she's going to try to rob Aztec gold from the Russians and a kaiju. So, yeah, that's Kaiju. That's Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 1 from AfterShock. I'll say I actually really liked it. I thought it was good, very newbie friendly. Like for someone who has not read Kaiju Score Volume 1, I'm not lost really. This issue did a really good job of kind of welcoming me in and kind of setting up, here's a world where kaijus are a thing and people just kind of learn to deal with it. And our main character is a heist leader. She has her own group of people who go out and they commit heists, and somehow they have to work around kaiju sometimes. Because sometimes kaijus are, I guess in the Florida job, they were robbing a bank, and they happened to be robbing a bank at the same time that a kaiju was attacking the city. I don't know. This is just like what I'm making out from what little I've read. I read the premise for the first volume, and then what little I see here. But like I said, this issue does a good job. Like for anyone who hasn't read Kaiju Score, you can jump into this and not be too lost. You can easily figure out what's going on. And like I said, I think the world's pretty interesting. It's a heist story with kaijus. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like that's something unique. Rather than the focus being on fighting kaijus and protecting the world, it's basically just trying to live in a world with kaijus. But instead of just trying to live in the world with kaijus, it's about trying to live in a world with kaijus while robbing banks and committing heists. And like how would kaijus being in this world affect a heist? Like how would a heist be affected if the place got attacked by a kaiju in the middle of the robbery? So I'm like, all right, that sounds pretty sweet. So I recommend this issue. Check it out. It's pretty cool. And like I said, it's very newbie friendly. So there you go. Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 1 from AfterShock. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any recommendations, let me know. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.